Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to the team at Letchworth Seat, I'm bringing you an exterior and interior in-depth tour and exhaust video of this 2019 Seat Leon Cupra R. Seat Letchworth currently have this, as well as many new and pre-owned models for sale, so make sure you check them out by clicking the direct link in the video description. The Cupra R is the highest performance hot hatch Seat has ever made, and to commemorate this, it is limited to just 799 numbered models worldwide, with only 24 coming to the UK. It can be finished in monsoon grey metallic as seen here, and a metallic black. It not only comes with obvious aesthetic additions, but also features power, sound and suspension upgrades over the standard Cupra. The Cupra 300, which is the production model this is based on, comes in at 4,281mm long, 1,816mm wide, 1,435mm high, and has a curb weight of just under 1,400 kilograms. Before we can take a look at the engine, we first need to pull the lever found to the left of the passenger's footwell. A small central catch needs to be depressed to release the bonnet, which can then be raised up. The small strut below then needs to be fixed into position to support the bonnet. The R is powered by the same engine as the Golf R, and revised version of the engine found in the Cupra 290, a 2-litre front-mounted turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that sends all of its power to the front wheels and produces 306 brake horsepower, up 10 brake horsepower on the standard Cupra, and 380 Nm of torque. This output results in a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of 5.8 seconds, and a top speed of 155 mph, the same figures as the Cupra 300. Once the strut has been removed and fixed below, the bonnet can be lowered and secured with a firm central depress. The R is sitting on 19-inch Cupra R machined gloss black and copper variants of the limited wheel design that can also be spec'd on the limited edition Cupra Carbon Edition, but not in the standard Cupra models. They are wrapped in the optional Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tyres here. Braking now comes from front ventilated Brembo Performance brakes, 370mm, which is 30mm bigger than in the standard Cupra, and 310mm at the rear. Stability comes from McPherson front and multi-link rear suspension with adaptive dampers. The adaptive dampers have been adjusted to offer enhanced performance and now can be configured manually. At the front, negative camber has been adjusted from 1.3 to 2 degrees to offer greater front grip. We also find an electronic locking differential at the front to further enhance traction. Now we've finished the model overview, we can start the in-depth exterior tour from front to back. At the bottom, we find this new gloss carbon splitter. The Cupra R is the first Seat to feature real carbon fibre. Moving up, we find the same air inlet and grille design. However, the lateral intakes now have an additional copper panel, new gloss black panel above, and new grille centrally. We also find these new side intakes and wider wheel arches. Moving up, we find the same 5 intake slits above the number plate, an open intake section and grille above, but now with a copper logo. On either side, we find the same angular LED daytime running lights and central LED main beams as in the Cupra 300. Moving back, the R has the same bonnet as the 300, with 2 lateral and central dynamic lines, the same windscreen with 2 wipers and flat roof behind. We can now move to the lateral aspect of the Cupra R. At the bottom, we find these new extended side skirts. Here we find the same electrically adjustable mirrors as in the 300, with their integrated LED indicators, but now finished in copper. Below and along, the door handles come with these small indentations, which are indicative of the keyless entry system. And below, the new extended side skirts finish here with carbon fibre. Moving up, and on the right-hand side, we find the car's fuel tank. The flap can be opened with a light depress. The tank holds the same capacity as the Cupra 300, 50 litres. However, the R is less efficient by around 3 miles per gallon, producing a combined MPG of 38.7. Once finished with, the flap can be easily fixed back into position with a light depress. Now moving to the rear, we find several changes. From top to bottom, there's a new enlarged carbon fibre spoiler that actually contributes to reduced lift. The LED brake light strip below is now mounted to the body as a result of this change. The same window can be found below with the same gloss black panels on either side and a single wiper. Moving down, the brake light complexes on either side are the same as those found in the Cupra 300 and wrap around the side for enhanced visibility. Underneath, the rear logo has also been changed to copper, and the Cupra logo has been changed to gloss black, seen to the right. The reversing camera can be found protruding out from above the rear number plate. The car also has front and rear parking sensors. Below and on either side, we find the enlarged rear arches and new rear vent. Centrally, there's a new carbon fibre version of the 4-fin diffuser found on the standard Cupra. And on either side, we find the new, more vocal and motive exhaust system that features wider circular outlets, as opposed to the ovular outlets on the Cupra 300. Let's hear how it sounds. Now we've finished the exterior tour, we can move inside. The R comes with a standard Seat fob with the deployable key and buttons to lock, unlock and open the boot. The handles are easy to locate and open, and the doors pull out smoothly. The interior of the R is finished in leather and Alcantara, with further carbon fibre inlays and copper detailing, and bucket seats, a vastly superior to any other Cupra. Let's start the interior in-depth tour with the doors. The curved panel at the top of the doors is unchanged, and flattens out as it moves along. The panel below is now all carbon fibre or carbon effect, rather than just plastic and a slim carbon strip as in the 300. We find the door release and internal lock controls ahead, with an ambient lighting strip integrated between the panels. Moving down, we find the same padded, leather upholstered armrest, with a door handle and controls for electric windows and mirrors. Finally, at the bottom of the front doors, there's an open storage area and the first speaker from the new high-definition Beats audio system. Moving inside, as the sill is neither high nor wide, and this is a standard hatchback, ingress and egress is a comfortable process. The first thing we see as we move inside is the new monochrome Cupra polished kickplate. Moving up, we also find the storage and access area, the exterior light controls, and the first manually adjustable air vent. Looking to the left, we find the R version of the standard flat-bottomed multifunctional Cupra steering wheel, with the main difference being Alcantara upholstery and copper inlays. Now taking a closer look at the steering wheel, it's upholstered in grey Alcantara with copper contrast stitching. On the left, there are buttons for skip track, volume scroller and voice commands. The new copper Seat logo is central with the airbag. Controls for the instrument cluster ahead are to the right, and new monochrome checkered flag below. Thanks to the car's keyless entry and go system, with the key inside the car, it could be turned on by depressing the on-off button to the left. The instrument cluster, or digital cockpit styling here, is bespoke to the R and comprised of, from left to right, analog rev gauge with engine temperature, central digital display with warning lights below, and analog speedo with fuel level. The central digital display has several screens, but we will start with navigation. Here we find a compass indicating direction of travel, with exterior temp below. We can also navigate easily to last destinations. Moving right, we come to audio, where the user can easily scroll through the various radio stations from the DAB digital radio and inputs. The options for phone connectivity come next, where the user can pair and view paired devices and further options. Vehicle status comes next, which is followed by the lap timer. Then driving data for current speed, average speed, distance, last trip travel time, remaining range, average consumption, current consumption, and temperature with oil temperature and warnings. Next, the user can adjust assist settings for the front parking sensors and adaptive cruise control or ACC. Moving up, the dash ahead starts with a vent to the right, with another centrally for demist, with a speaker ahead of it and second vent to the left. Moving down, we find the same screen and vent configuration as in the Cupra 300, but of course with our bespoke copper piping. There are two asymmetrical, manually adjustable air vents either side of the new 8-inch touchscreen. We start on the FM, AM and full DAB digital radio screen. Pressing menu at the top enables the user to go to the main menu, where several screens can be selected from. In media, the user can access and manage connected devices via Bluetooth and physical connections such as USB and aux. The navigation screen is next, which can be physically adjusted and, as you can see, is quite responsive. There are additional controls to the right for altitude, recenter on the car, direction of travel and distance to destination. New destinations can be input top right, previous destinations bottom left, and points of interest bottom right. Live traffic alerts are next, which even provides the reason for traffic. I had to use the physical button to the left to navigate back to the main menu. In sound, the user can adjust several features of the car's Beats system, such as volume threshold, level equalizer, subwoofer, Beats sound focus, which enables the user to choose their own point in the cockpit for the sound system to focus on, and finally, tone and nav settings. Telephone connectivity comes next, for sending and receiving calls, then vehicle, which has several screens. The first is a general trip with sync start info, then a long-term trip that's currently showing a real-world MPG of 25.1, and finally, info sync refueling. Next we come to Seat Full Link, which offers extended connectivity via Android Auto, Apple CarPlay and MirrorLink, where, amongst other things, third-party navigation and WhatsApp can be downloaded and used. Seat MD control can be used to access the car's Wi-Fi hotspot controls and features. When swiped to the left, two further option menus can be accessed, the first being digital controls for the car's air conditioning system. Doors, roof or sunroof, and window status can be viewed, and the dual zones can be adjusted. Finally, we come to the general settings menu for time and date, language, WLAN and voice settings, and factory defaults. The physical button to the left can then be used to navigate back to the main menu. The final screen, other than for the reversing camera, is the Cupra menu, where the user can select between Comfort, Sport, Cupra and Individual. In each of these settings, damping and throttle response become sharper and more immediate, and in Individual, a customized setup can be configured. The Cupra button below is part of the first button array, which also carries controls for, from left to right, stop start on off, parking sensors, hazard lights, traction control on off, and passenger airbag lights. Below, we find the physical controls for the car's air conditioning and ventilation system. The individual controls are for, from left to right, passenger zone digital temperature display, 3-stage passenger heated seat, 3 air direction controls, recirculation, the driver's 3-stage heated seat, and driver's zone digital temperature display. Moving down, we find controls for driver's side temperature scroller, sync, central fan speed scroller, AC off, and finally the passenger's temperature scroller with front and rear demist. Moving down, we find this open storage area. Looking closer, we find 2 USB inputs and a single aux input. Moving back, we find the Cupra R model number out of 799 cars worldwide, this being number 606. To its right, we also find the engine on-off button. The leather upholstered and Alcantara-topped gear shifter for the car's 6-speed manual transmission is behind. There are 2 transmission options for the R, an auto twin-clutch DSG unit, and this 6-speed manual, which is fitted to all 24 UK cars. We also find further copper contrast stitching. Moving back, we find another small storage area, probably for the key and the car's electric parking brake. Behind this there are 2 permanent cup holders, with a third open storage area behind, equipped with the car's single 12-volt socket. At the rear of the central column, we find this elevated armrest and storage area. The lid can be lifted up with a firm pull to reveal storage broken up into 3 sections. Once finished with, the lid can be easily fixed back into position. On either side of this, we find the leather and Alcantara upholstered bucket seats that come with copper contrast stitching and carbon effect on the side bolstering. These are manually adjustable, with a tilt lever found to the side and back and forth controls found to the front. Now we've finished in the front, we can move to the rear, where we find the same leather and Alcantara upholstery and carbon effect styling and copper contrast stitching. The doors are also laid out in the same style, with the flat panel on top. Carbon panel and door release. Leather upholstered armrest, door handle and window control, and a speaker and open storage area below. Now taking a POV tour around the rear, we start with the angular rear of the front buckets, and look down to the lower indentations with good rear legroom. Looking around, we see the rear aircon and ventilation, rear bench seating and lighting above. Focusing on these individual features in more detail, the central column projects into the rear with these 2 manually adjustable air vents and 2 USB inputs underneath. Moving back, we can take a better look at the rear bench. As mentioned before, it is upholstered in leather and Alcantara, with carbon effect detailing and copper contrast stitching, just as in the front. The 2 outer seats come with extended side bolstering for better lateral support. The back of the central occasional seat can be pulled down to reveal 2 cup holders and an access panel through to the boot. Looking up, there are 2 manually adjustable white LED reading lights. Now we've finished in the rear, we can move back to the front to view the car's remaining storage capacity. On the passenger side, we find this glove compartment that can be easily opened by pulling the lever. Inside we find quite a large amount of storage capacity, illumination, the physical user's manual and the CD player and 2 SD slots. Now moving outside, the boot can be unlocked using the key and unlatched by depressing the top of the Seat logo and lifting up. As the car's internal dimensions haven't been altered in comparison to the standard Cupra 300, the R has the same boot capacity of 380 litres, but 1270 litres with the seats down. Taking a closer look, we find an indented area to the left with netting. Ahead, we can see the latches to fold the rear seats and open the central hatch we saw earlier. Once finished in the boot, the lid can be manually closed with a firm depress. We can now move back inside briefly to view the final few features. The leather upholstered sun visors can be easily unfolded, where we find vanity mirrors. Looking centrally, we find microphones for the car's voice control and telephony systems, and 2 reading lights and their controls. Moving down, the rear view mirror offers good visibility in conjunction with the rear window. So that concludes my in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust video of this 2019 Seat Leon Cupra R that's currently for sale with Seat Letchworth. You can find all of their contact information in the video description. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.